Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to be going over how to keep as much muscle on as possible while you're losing fat. That should be your primary goal for an overall awesome physique. There's nothing worse than losing muscle that you earned throughout the whole year just to lose it in a deficit when you're trying to lose weight. I'm going to show you the best strategies to keep on as much muscle as possible. If you expend more energy than you take in from food, you'll lose weight. The problem when losing weight is that we actually send catabolic signals to our muscles to actually break down muscle tissue to use as fuel. When we are in a surplus of calories, we optimize the ability to gain muscle because our muscle protein synthesis is higher than muscle protein breakdown. To completely have no muscle loss from a weight loss phase is virtually impossible unless you're a new trainee in their first year of training, or if you had a long break from weight training. While beginners can gain muscle and lose fat at the same time, there will come a time when that will just not work for you anymore. You will have to decide what you want to do, fat loss or muscle gain. The more muscle in your body allows you to eat more calories and keep the weight off long term. This is because the more muscle mass you have, the higher your metabolic rate will stay. Metabolic rate meaning the amount of calories you burn at rest for life-sustaining functions. If you cut and try and lose fat too fast, you risk muscle loss and therefore will be keeping the weight off long term much harder because you have less muscle, meaning less calories your body will be burning at rest. Let's dive into the best strategy to avoid muscle loss while cutting. The number one strategy is actually pretty obvious: keep training hard and regularly. There's no need to switch things up. Many people think you need to change the way you train just because your goal is fat loss. This is simply not true. You don't really have to change it at all. The goal should be maintaining strength and keeping the weights the same in strength and the amount of sets and reps you can do with each exercise for as long as possible. This will work up to a certain point. I even recommend trying to work out less times per week when you've been in a calorie deficit for a long duration, around 2 months or longer, just so your body is optimally recovering. At some point you will see strength drop off. This is inevitable. Just because you have less mass on your body, you're not going to be able to maintain that strength. The idea that most people get is just to increase their training to high rep training to burn more calories. The problem with that, you're actually eating less calories, so how do you expect your body to be able to work out and train harder with less food? This is a recipe for muscle loss over time. Be careful not to fall in this trap. As you get leaner and start losing more body fat, it's going to make it harder to train as aggressively as you would with a surplus of calories, for instance. Strategy number 2, increase protein intake. A study in 2018 showed that increased protein intake retains lean body mass better. The subjects took in 40% below energy requirements, aka an energy deficit. Young men who consumed 2.4 grams per kilograms or 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight demonstrated significant increases in lean body mass. So keeping your protein high around 1 gram per pound of body weight can significantly help in maintaining muscle mass. Strategy number 3, slow and steady wins the race. When you're trying to lose body fat, you want to do it at a slow rate. If you put your body in too much of a deficit of calories, you're going to be risking muscle loss. This is because if you put your body in like a 1,000 calorie deficit, say to a 500 calorie deficit, your body is going to want to slow your metabolism down to try and hold on to that fat as much as possible. You're also going to risk the potential rebound as soon as that diet is over just because you dieted so hard. If you do it slow and take your time with the process, you're going to have a better chance of doing this long term. So a slower approach is almost better in every case. A study done in 2017 showed why slow weight loss is superior to rapid weight loss. Both groups lost 5% of their body weight, but one group did it in 5 weeks, while the other group took 15 weeks, spreading out over a longer time frame. So the fast group lost weight around 1% of body weight per week, while the other group lost weight at a rate of 0.33% per week. The 0.33% group actually lost more fat mass and lost less muscle mass than the other group. Now 0.33% is really slow. That did retain the most muscle mass, but we want to increase that a little bit, so here's what I recommend. Around 0.5 to 1% of body weight loss per week would be optimal for most people, with higher body fat percentage leaning to the 1% side of the scale and the leaner you are leaning to the 0.5% side. The higher your body fat is, the easier it is to take all that fat without the risk of muscle loss. The leaner you are, the slower the rate of weight loss will be. Here's a scale with pictures to best see what percentage of body fat you are. Another great rule of thumb recommended by Dr. Lane Norton, PhD in nutritional science, is a 0.3 to 0.8% per weekly rate of weight loss, which is being scaled for people that are not considered obese and do not have a lot of body fat to take off. So guys under 25% body fat can use this scale, and girls under 30% body fat. Strategy number 4, taking diet breaks. A diet break is simply bumping up your calories to maintenance calories after you've been in a calorie deficit for multiple weeks in a row. So say you were in a 500 calorie deficit losing weight. You would just bump up your 500 calories. So say you're eating 2,500 calories. You'd bump that up to 3,000 calories for a week. which will be your maintenance calories while you just maintain your weight. This improves your coherence to your fat loss goal by giving you a psychological break for a week. The only downside is this way takes longer to reach your weight loss goal, but in the long term, it's definitely worth it. But if you have problems staying consistent with diets, I highly recommend implementing a 1-week diet break every 4 to 8 weeks. Make sure to monitor your strength when you're doing a cut too. You don't want to make sure that's dropping off too drastically, right? We want to slow decrease in strength or maintain our strength as much as possible. Diet breaks in some studies have actually been shown to increase muscle mass retention, especially when you get into the leaner body fat percentages. Strategy number 5, keeping your carbs as high as possible. Once you meet your protein needs, about 1 gram per pound of body weight, and about 20% of your calories coming from fats, that's essential. The rest should come from carbs. You want to keep your carbs as high as possible because that's going to help your performance and strength maintenance in the gym. Since carbs are the main preferred energy source of the body, this is going to help you maintain your strength over a high fat diet. Strategy number 6, keep activity as high as possible. You want to keep your daily steps and general movement throughout the day high because that portion of your day is actually where you expend the most energy overall. Put it this way, person A decides to cut back on calories because they stop losing weight at their current calories. But their calories were already low in the first place, say 1200 calories. You can drop the calories lower, but any lower can actually send a catabolic response to the body to lose muscle once you get into a severe calorie restricted state. Person B, for example, realizes they have stopped losing weight, but instead of decreasing their calories even lower from 1200 calories, they decide to bump up their daily steps and movement throughout the day, once again putting them in a deficit. When cutting, try and keep your calories as high as possible because at a point eating so little food is not optimal to preserve muscle mass and strength. Strategy number 7, specificity of training. Any kind of training that does not support muscle mass retention should be limited or taken out. If your aesthetic appearance is your focus, not how fast you can run or how long you can run for, your training should mostly consist of resistance training. If you have other desires like running a 4-minute mile, for example, you can't expect your hard-earned muscle in your legs to be maintained when you're running every day. The more calories needed to perform that exercise, the more disruptive it will be and the more it will interfere with your muscle mass retention, especially in a calorie deficit. Cardio can actually send catabolic pathways that reduce or reverse muscle growth even. I would keep the cardio about half of what your weight training sessions would be. So say you train 4 times a week with weights, your cardio sessions would be no longer than 30 minutes and about maximum 2 sessions per week. So in summary here guys, keep weight training hard and regularly. You're gonna keep that muscle mass, especially when you're in that deficit. Keep the protein high, around 1 gram per pound of body weight. Keep your carbs as high as you can so you can have awesome performance in the gym. Keep your activity level, your daily steps as high as you can, not necessarily your cardio, but that low intensity stuff is fine. Use diet breaks when necessary and be patient when you're trying to lose that fat. Do not rush the process. It will take its time. Slow rate of weight loss is always going to be better, like I showed you in that study. You're going to be able to achieve that better body composition that you want and not that skinny fat look. Well guys, hopefully that answered some of your questions. Please leave a comment below if you have any questions about any of these topics. If you found any value in this video, please like and subscribe so you never miss another video, but that's going to be it for today. Catch you guys later.